Being a trad wife is the most profitable thing that you can be doing on the internet at this moment. And it seems like a lot of women should actually quit their 9 to 5 and become a trad wives, start creating content as traditional wives on the internet, because it's actually going to make you a lot of money. Right now there's actually an uproar because of the Ballerina Farm article that was written by a journalist from the Times. And Ballerina Farm as a brand actually falls into this traditional wife, trad wife aesthetic. And saying that any woman that appears to be a trad wife on the internet is actually getting a lot of attention, it shows you that there is massive demand for this kind of content. It's actually very interesting because as I have done my own research, I have seen that when you are a woman who creates content, especially about food or homemaking, but you're doing it for yourself, you don't get as much attention as if you branded yourself as someone who is doing all this homemaking, but you're doing it for your children and your husband. There is an appeal when you're doing all these things that are considered to be values attached to traditional women, but doing it for other people. But if you're doing it for yourself and you're like, oh, I like cooking from scratch and I like doing it for myself, it just doesn't appeal to as many people. I've also noticed that when a lot of women who are constantly creating content about homemaking, when a lot of these women get pregnant, suddenly there's a spike in their followership. And I truly believe that there's an appetite, or should I say a fetish, to see women doing things that are considered to be women jobs, you know, like giving birth to children, like cooking for the family, cleaning the house, constantly doing all these exhausting chores. Maybe you can call it a traditional wife fetish, trad wife fetish. I think that's what it is. A lot of people just want to see that kind of content, and that's exactly what makes it a very profitable niche, because there's just a huge demand. It's not just appealing to the men or the women, it's appealing to everyone. It's going to be appealing to women who feel like, I actually don't want to work a 9 to 5. I just want to be a traditional woman. I just want to wake up and cook for my family and take care of my family and cook everything from scratch and just do house chores. And then you have the men who are like, wow, I would like to marry a woman who's gonna do all these things for me. It would be so nice to have a woman that cooks for me from scratch, that does everything for me. Wow, modern women just don't do it for me. I need me a traditional wife. Then you'll have the feminists, and most times, yes, there are men and women who are like, no, this kind of content is influencing young girls in a bad way. This is taking women back. Women have really fought for centuries. Women to be working in the office. Trad wife is not the thing that we need now. And you know, when you actually think of the term trad wife and you look at what you're seeing on the internet, there's a huge paradox, because traditional wives didn't have time to be filming themselves, editing the videos and posting them on the internet for people to watch. So it really should go without saying that these are people who are not trad wives, because a traditional wife wouldn't even have the freedom to think that, oh my god, I'm actually going to film myself doing this job and then people are gonna watch it and I'm gonna make money. No, traditional wives didn't have agency over their own lives. So actually calling these women who are actually doing the things that most of the time they just like doing it, you're calling them trad wives, it's kind of a reach. But that is what actually also makes it perfect as a niche, because a lot of people, as I said in the previous video about how people are easily manipulated, a lot of people on the internet did not ask themselves questions. They don't stop to think, okay, what did I watch? What does it mean? If you pay attention, a lot of these people who are actually called trad wives do not call themselves traditional wives. These are titles that different people who have watched their content have given to them just because of the content they're creating. So for example, Ballerina Farm is living on a farm and she has 8 children. People are saying, oh wow, she is oppressed because this is the life that she is living. She has said herself that she doesn't feel like she is oppressed, but a lot of people feel like living this kind of life is oppression, because this kind of content and this time, it's always playing on people's fears, prejudices and their aspirations. So of course there's those who aspire to this kind of life, and then there are those who actually have a visceral fear to live this kind of life, because they think that for you to actually live a life where you are in service to your own family, it has to be oppression. Like in their heads, they don't think that the people who actually choose that, yes, we know, they're people who are oppressed into living those kinds of life. But there are also people who choose that because they want to. But because, again, a lot of people on social media do not listen, or those who are very intolerant towards people with different worldviews, they don't want to see where the creator is coming from. They want to take the feelings that they get after watching this content as the truth. So they'll watch this content and they're like, wow, this has to be a nightmare, and they automatically think, oh, the creator is living a nightmarish life. And somebody else will watch it and be like, this is the dream. And they'll be like, wow, this creator is living the dream life. And that's exactly why this kind of content is very profitable. Because even if you're not saying anything, even if you're just cooking in silence like Emily Mariko does, a lot of people are just going to use you and your content as a reflection of themselves, as a refraction. You become like this mirror that, you know, is showing them who they are, but they think that that is who you are. This is the kind of content that really makes you a blank slate, and not just to your audience that can throw whatever labels they want at you, but also to the advertisers, because you can fit into any model that an advertiser or a brand would want you to be. And this goes across many industries. It could be tech, it could be fashion, it could be food, it could be household appliances, it could be skincare, it could be baby brands. There's just a lot of room for partnerships and collaborations. That means just lots of money. If you're a woman who is struggling in the 9-to-5, perhaps you should think about becoming a trad wife on the internet. Of course, it means that you should be ready for the attention that you're going to get, both good and bad attention, because yes, there are people who are going to be like, this is the life I want to live, and some people are going to accuse you for regressing women's rights.